It began with 3 pillars, the foundation for UW Esports, pushing ourselves to greater heights.
Community.
Career.
Competition.
Oh yeah. Reminds me of Toronto Defiant Yakpung. Reminiscent of that, of just juggling everyone into the corner there.
Maybe that'll be the game changer here for UW.
Maybe. Oh my goodness, what an angle by Wizard.
Wow. What a shot.
Hello, and welcome to our esports game of the week featuring the third match from the PAC-U CLoL. Last week, we got to see the Huskies go head-to-head with our neighbors to the south, Oregon State University. Today, we will see them face off against the University of Colorado Boulder. I can't speak. Our esports program seeks to build and foster communities, open doors to the vast career opportunities in the field of gaming, and promote the virtues of healthy competition. Through esports, we are able to communicate with one another, forming and developing digital communities. We hope you enjoy being a part of our community, and we invite you to get more involved. Follow us here or on our UW Esports Discord server, as well as on our social channels at UW Esports. Now, to introduce ourselves, I'm Ryan. I am currently a third year at the University of Washington, and I'll be one of your casters tonight.
I'm Ava. I'm currently a first-year junior at the University of Washington, and I will be your other caster for the evening.
So, Ava, we got a very exciting game for us today. UW versus the University of Colorado Boulder.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited. I've been watching the league team so far, and they've been doing really well. So I'm really excited to see what they come up with this evening with the new patch.
Yeah, UW's off to an absolutely dominating start, actually having the fastest average game time for the CLoL tournament, I believe. it's actually crazy to see how fast they've been able to finish out games. And I honestly think that their priority on early game junglers like the Lee Sin for the Skyfalls for me is a big part of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And on top of that, I've looked at like KD, and we currently have the highest KD, as well as our bot laner, Miley, has 15.4 KD, like average over this whole tournament so far, which is absolutely crazy.
He's been playing absolutely out of his mind. And a big pick for them for that reason is actually Caitlyn. They've been playing it a lot, playing it about 3 out of 4 games, I believe. And of course, you know, starting off with a perfect record, they have a 100% win rate on it as well.
Yeah, no, so I'm really excited to hopefully get into this game very soon, but looks like they are going to start picks in a minute if we can let them know that we are good to go.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this draft goes, especially with the new patch. I believe I was hearing that Annie is a very strong champion on this patch.
Oh yeah, Annie is going to be a demon, and I wouldn't be surprised if she gets banned, and if not, she gets picked immediately, and if not first picked by either team.
Yeah, CU Boulder's mid laner has actually been playing it a bit over the past couple of days, so it'll be interesting to see how that affects the ban phase. We
there
actually see it come out.
Yeah.
No big surprise there. Along with the Kayn, who the Skyfalls for me is a avid player of. So, yep. And there's the Caitlyn. Absolutely no surprise so far in the ban phase.
Yeah, very, very textbook, really. Getting a Zac ban, he's really good right now, not just in jungle, but mid and top as well, I've seen. So I'm not surprised at all there either.
Yeah, I think the only ban we haven't seen that I would be expecting is the Maokai, who is bolstering one of the highest picks and ban rates at the tournament so far. And there it is. Yep. Alright, good job to us, I guess.
Yeah, no, so a very textbook ban phase, and we get this first pick Kai'Sa coming in for Miley, looks like.
I think this is also a bit of a denial pick. CU Boulder's AD carry has been playing Kai'Sa a lot in their recent games, so I think it's a really good takeaway, and I am very confident that Miley is able to pilot it at a very high level as well.
Do you think we're going to see any Aurelion Sol being pulled out this soon, or maybe waiting a few weeks?
I don't believe I've seen Sol in the match history of either mid laner, so I'd be a bit surprised to see either team pull it out. I think definitely for UW, it doesn't really fit their playstyle with Aurelion Sol being such a scaling mid laner. So I'd be surprised to see it, but I'd be very happy to see it.
No, I've been enjoying watching Sol. I think the rework was done really well for him overall, because I think he really needed it with just pick rates and stuff since his release. So I'd be very happy to see it. Otherwise, we got a Xayah pick for the bot lane, which I really like that matchup between Xayah and Kai'Sa, so I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, followed up by the Elise pick as well. That's a very fun pick to watch as well. A very early aggressive jungler who, the Skyfalls for me is most likely going to respond in kind with an aggressive jungler of his own. He's currently hovering the Nocturne. Not sure if we're going to see that get locked or not. Time is ticking down. And it looks like it is going to be the Nocturne. I'm a big fan of the Nocturne personally. I think it's a very good pick. You get to just farm up fast into the level 6, and of course the pace of the game is very much dictated by that first ultimate coming out of Nocturne, so it'll be interesting to see where he decides to take that.
Yeah, and I mean that the ult allows him to let the laners kind of do their thing, and if he sees Elise respond to a lane, he's able to respond back much faster, so it allows them to have a really aggressive pushback on any ganks that might come about.
Yeah, and speaking of fast responses, we get the Galio for Pasco, so that's another way for UW to follow up on possible ganks with the Galio ulting on top of the Nocturne.
Ooh. And maybe a Cassiopeia pick. That's really... I love Cassiopeia. I think she's such a cool character. Just with her playstyle, I love watching it. And especially with this aggressive team, her ult will be a really big counter to them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. With the possibility of a Galio, Nocturne, and Kai'Sa all diving in, Cassiopeia ultimate would do a lot to stop it. And we're gonna see a Shen ban, so it seems CU Boulder does not want UW to get their hands on any more of these global ultimates.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I am kind of interested to see that neither team really opted to play the Jax. I know UW doesn't have as much priority on it as other teams in the CLoL, but I would have thought that CU Boulder would have either or would have tried to pick it up, but I guess they decided to opt into just kind of matching the picks of UW, making sure that they aren't forcing their mid laner to go too far down the tier list. So they are very happy to just pick up the Cassiopeia and leave the top lane pick, possibly the R5.
Ooh, and a bard. So we get a bard ban and a Rakan ban. So two very, very engaging supports and a rel ban. So 3 support bans for the second half, and possibly a Nautilus pick to back that up. So lots of very tanky supports, not really any enchanter bans.
Yeah, and I think that about matches the pace that we've been seeing from both of these teams. I already mentioned that UW has one of the fastest win average game times, but so does CU Boulder. They actually are clocking in at about right under 26 minutes for average game time, while UW is sitting right under 24. So both of these teams do prefer these faster paced games, which I think these engaged sports do facilitate.
I think we're getting a Syndra support pick, which I really like.
Yeah, actually, I do believe that either the Syndra or the Galio could both go support, so
Yeah, I'm wondering which will be which, and I will see in a minute, but... Ooh,
an orange.
I'm really liking what UW's going with right now. I'm really excited for this game already.
Yeah, it's a very easy to force comp, if that makes sense. With the Ornn ult, the Galio ult, and the Nocturne ult, all being a very easy to execute go button.
No, I think we're gonna see some really crazy team fights pretty early on with both these comps, considering they're all gonna have to kind of come together to really get something worked out.
We are gonna see the Gnar as the answer to the Ornn.
So it will be the Galio's support.
Yeah, and I actually think that makes sense. I am a bit curious if the call by UW was to just pick the Galio, and once they saw the Cassiopeia, they decided to just flex it to support and maybe try to get a better matchup in the mid lane, which I think Syndra into Cassiopeia is a pretty good matchup for the Syndra.
Yeah, I agree. I think Syndra is able to keep Cass at more of a distance instead of Galio, who would get more melted with the Q and E combo.
Yeah, and of course the Kai'Sa Galio bot lane is no slouch in itself, so should be a interesting game. Looking at these drafts, do you think either team has a significant advantage at any point in the game?
I think early game, I think it's gonna have to go to CU Boulder. I think they just have a stronger early game, whereas UW's team is built more for mid game, because once they get those ults, once they get that team fight together, I think they have a better follow-up really with that. So I think they're gonna have a harder time early on, but if they can kind of keep their momentum slow and really bring it to kind of crescendo really, I think they'll have an easy time winning this game.
No, I definitely agree. Just looking at the side lanes for CU Boulder with the Gnar into the Ornn and the Xayah versus the Kai'Sa, I believe both of those lanes are lanes favoring CU Boulder in terms of push early, which I think if the Elise is able to take advantage of that, we could see CU Boulder get off to an early advantage. But like you said, once UW does start getting these items bought and some of these ultimates unlocked, it should probably swing in the favor of UW if CU Boulder isn't able to build up enough of a lead fast enough.
Yeah, CU Boulder is definitely going to need to try and get Elise down to gank pretty early on before that Nocturne can get his ult, and when he has it, before he can get it back up if he uses it. They're going to need to try and get that early gold advantage to stop UW from snowballing, really.
Yeah, and actually one thing I really do like from the UW draft was this Ornn pick top. It's really common to see Elises try and dive top early with a pushing top laner, but I believe it's a lot harder to dive the enemy top laner when it is this Ornn who can cancel the cocoon with the W, and it's just generally very tanky as a champion.
Yeah, no, pretty early on. I would like with an Ornn pick, or even like if they picked Malphite, I think those are pretty two easy early counters to Elise, so that she'll be targeting more of the mid or bot lane to try and get Syndra or Kai'Sa off balance. But I definitely think it's kind of the same thing. It's really hard, at least once Gnar hits 6, to target top lane, so I feel like the junglers are more likely going to be aiming for mid or bot lane to get a snowball going.
Yeah, and with this Nautilus on the side of CU Boulder, I do expect the Elise to be pathing bot early just because of how easy it is to follow up on a Nautilus engage with the Cocoon. That is a lot of lockdown very fast that could come out from the side of CU Boulder. And if Mally is not careful on this Kaisa, he could get blown up very easily.
Oh, definitely. And luckily, I mean, with the Nautilus pick on CU Boulder's side, you have the Galio pick where if Nautilus does hit a hook, Galio can easily follow that up and protect the ADC either way.
Yeah, a champion that is very good at peeling. So it'll be interesting to see how these bot fights do go.
No, I'm really excited. It looks like we have about 10 more seconds before we can get into the game and start seeing what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think these early paths by both jungler are going to be very important. Nocturne's going to be trying to get level 6 as fast as possible, while Elise is definitely trying to make an impact on the map before that happens. And yeah, I am happy to say it seems we are just seconds away from getting into game, so we'll see if any of our predictions were correct. I will say our predictions for draft were pretty accurate, so hopefully our predictions for the games are fairly accurate as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, it is just like a textbook ban. Oh.
And unfortunately...
And it looks, yeah, we already have some tech issues, unfortunately, to start off the game.
Yeah, it seems that the support on the side of CU Boulder is having some technical issues, so we are at a pause. In the meantime, I guess that means we get to make a few more predictions.
Yeah. So just looking at it, I mean, let's see. So I mean, Cassiopeia took a pretty standard Conqueror, which is going to allow her to get some really good poke in team fights later on, whereas Syndra has taken the first strike to get that early gold lead and extra damage. So I'm gonna say that Cinder might have an easier time in the mid lane early on because she's gonna be able to get that extra damage off, and she has so much more space that she's able to make from the Cassiopeia.
What about this press to attack on the Elise? If I'm being honest, I am not too caught up on the Elise meta, but I would have assumed it would have been something more like the Electrocute, or honestly anything but press to attack.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've really ever seen press the attack Elise, so I'm really interested to see what happens. I definitely think, like you said, Electrocute is a way more common rune to go because she has the spiders and the magic damage and the quick burst. But I'm interested to see what they do with the press the attack, because that's definitely a very interesting rune pick.
Yeah, I also wonder if it possibly changes build path at all, because I know it is... I think the standard mythic for Elise is the Night Harvester, but without the Electrocute, you don't have as much burst, and something like the Rocket Bell would actually keep you in range of champions easier, making it easier to get the auto attacks off.
Yeah, definitely. What else do we have? So we have a Fleet Footwork on the Gnar versus the Grasp from the Ornn. So we'll see a lot of poke between these two, hopefully, pretty early on. And it looks like we're about to play in a second.
I also find it kind of... I think the lethal tempo is now considered the standard keystone for the Kaisa. I do kind of miss the days of Halo Blades, but with the nerfs, I think lethal tempo is just a better keystone. But yeah, it looks like game has finally officially started, and yeah, let's see where both teams opt to go for this early vision contest. It looks like both teams are kind of just fanning out, not opting to do any...
spread out.
Yeah, no real like 5-man in either of the side lanes, or, you know, no invades too early. It doesn't even really look like either team's going for an early ward. Probably gonna see it in a couple more seconds. Oh, we do get that early ward, bush in the ward. Ward in the bush? Ward in the bush. There we go.
No, we get the point.
Yeah,
so yeah, definitely
pretty
spread out. No invades, which isn't surprising with these two teams being pretty more on the defensive side rather than the offensive side. So not surprised at all by that. Looks like pretty standard pathing is going to come from both junglers as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Flash Nautilus hook into Flash Cocoon, but I think that is for the best. We're gonna see...
Although I love to have that excitement this early, I don't mind having the calm and collected. game.
Yeah, kind of speaking on jungle pathing, it looks like both junglers are going to start top. I think this is definitely what I was expecting, with what I expect more emphasis to be on the bot lane in the early game. Notice the word is just kind of walking up, seeing what is up, getting some poke onto Nightscale, and
Oh, and a
early fight
quick
bot.
engaged bot lane.
Oh,
Looks
that's
like Nautilus is taking a lot of damage pretty early.
yeah, that did not go in the favor of CU Boulder at the very least, and some early trading going on in the mid lane as well.
No, and I think that's the issue with Nautilus and Glacial Augment pretty early on, is because you have like it reduces damage for your teammates if people are in the Glacial Augment, but you take extra damage, or the same amount, I guess. So it's hard when you're not as tanky yet to be able to just face tank that.
Yeah, Hilogia is definitely missing the tankiness that Aftershock would have provided, but it does look like, as expected, CU Boulder's bot lane is getting the early push in the lane, so really no harm, no foul. Hilogia probably had to pop a pot or two, pop a pot, but in the end, it doesn't really make too big of a difference in the early stages of the lane.
Not big of a deal, especially because he got the level 2 level up, which will give him a bunch of health as well. So taking that early poke isn't too big of a deal before you've hit level 2.
Yeah. And also, just as expected, Notice the word is getting the push out in the top lane. One thing to note is that K-Drama actually did not start. He started leashless in the top half of the jungle and also went for a full clear. Oh, early king mid.
Ooh, and the
Cocoon
flash
does not
comes
land.
out from Syndra.
Yeah, good early pressure by K-Drama, but he is a little bit behind in his clear. Bot lane is walking up. The Syndra has no flash.
Yeah, no, and I think they're following up on that, and that's exactly why. And again, not surprising seeing the Elise come out and pushing them is what we expected, because she needs to try and get that early one-up on Nocturne before it comes to the point where he has his ult and can just be anywhere at any time.
Yeah, definitely expected a revisit by K-Drama, but was not really expecting to see Water Wave and Hilogia walk up as well. And
and they're going 3 people going in on Noct, and he has to take his flash out, but the ignite comes out from Galio as well.
Cocoon goes
So I'd
wide.
say a pretty worth it trade from them because they get that Nocturne's flash. But I'm wondering if he he has Hex Flash, so not too big of a deal for him as well.
Yeah, you know, actually, UW is just walking up and taking the bot jungle of the Elise.
Yeah, Galio's come down, so this might be a quick team fight pretty early on as well.
I don't know if CU Boulder should be contesting this. The Cassiopeia is taking a lot of damage.
Flash comes out from Cass and Nock.
Oh, that's first
and there
blood.
goes the first blood.
It's
but
gonna
they
be
get Galio
taken
back in return. No, and then Nock. Oh yeah, this is going great for.
Oh, looks like it's gonna end at 2-for-2.
Yeah, so even, but luckily UW gets the easy first blood, which means that extra 150 gold for the team. So even though it came out even death-wise, they get extra gold from that interaction.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Skyfalls for me also gets the blue buff before the fight breaks out. So that is one buff denied for K-Drama. But overall, it is a 2-for-2. Only about a 200 gold lead in the favor of UW after all things are said and done. So should be still a fairly even game.
Yeah, and looks like everyone's starting to get their first backs in and getting back to start spending their gold. But it looks like in the bot lane, we're having a little bit of an interaction down there. Oh yeah, Galio's all the way in.
He doesn't have flash. He's just gonna have to keep walking, but this Nautilus almost gonna connect,
and yeah,
that's
there
kill.
he goes down. Oh, and
Oh
my gosh. Good flash from the Xayah. No, really great interaction from them. Because the Xayah was trying to back, and I think the Galio engaged on that. And unfortunately, it went completely wrong for them.
Oh, K-Drama's here to
Oh,
back
and
up.
Nightscale might go down as well.
Cocoon lands,
Yeah,
yep,
Elise
that's a
has
kill.
the double buffs. Unfortunate, but obviously so far, press the attack working out pretty well for her.
Yeah, I am very interested in seeing how much damage that Keystone does for K-Drama at the end of the game. It was something I might have to look into. But overall, I think that is definitely 2 winning plays by the side of CU Boulder. That is something you hate to see if you are a UW fan.
Yeah.
It's UW losing out on both side lanes, and that's absolutely huge.
No, and those 3 more kills, and now we have another 1,000 gold lead almost in the favor of CU Boulder. So really great early on, and just like we said, they really need to try and... Oh, and there goes the engage, and she doesn't have flash, so she has to try and use everything because she knows she can't get out.
Yeah, Skyfall's for me trying to give the kill over the Pascal, and it does end up working out.
But yeah,
what a good jungler.
She just has to engage because she knows, I mean, she doesn't have flash. She already used it earlier to get out and still died. So I think that's their second death. If we could get a tab really quick to see what the items are looking like already. So yeah, and that's two kills in favor for the Elise and the Xayah. So looking really good on the side of CU Boulder for an early game start.
Yep. Well, I am kind of surprised to see that the CS is fairly even in the top. Oh, it makes sense with, Nightscale is just gonna fall in the top lane to another repeat gank by K-Drama. Still has his flash, so I'm actually kind of surprised that Nightscale dies twice without blowing flash either time.
Yeah, no, very impressive from them. And if we check tab again, you can also see that, like we said, Nocturne is way ahead in CS currently in Elise because she's focusing on getting kills, whereas he was trying to get to 6 as soon as he could.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember the gold value of kills. I think it's about 15 CS worth. Not sure how that is impacted by jungle creeps, but the Skyfalls for me also did get first blood, which is a bit of extra gold for him. So yeah, he is also 2 levels up, which is interesting to say the least. Oh, another fight bringing out bot.
A big engage coming in from the Xayah because she gets the root in. Galio just has to try and go in, but unfortunately he can't get much out of it because he just knows he's dead.
These blade callers have been very on point.
Oh, and a big... No, Nautilus is doing wonderfully this game. But Sky falls for me trying to follow up as well as Cinder comes down.
Oh, what is Sky doing?
Oh, and a big kill for Cinder with the shutdown gold on Elise.
Oh, Hook is gonna miss. And that's another kill for UW. Symptomatic Link is here. I don't believe he's gonna be able to find anything there on the turret. He's trying to put down as much damage as he can, but Pascal with the flash is able to survive.
Yeah, he gets his ult in, but unfortunately Cinder did not turn around, so he wasn't able to get any more poke off.
Yeah, a lot of flashes blown on the side. A very key flash is blown on the side of UW, though, with Pascal and Miley both blowing their flashes. That is very delicious for the Elise.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if after she clears her top jungle, she'd make a play for the mid lane again. Oh, and Orin getting really good poke off on Gnar.
Yeah, and Elise is actually going to be going up top. Nocturne is here as well. This could be a 2v2. Orts all coming out. Paranormal is there.
Oh, and he's stunned. But he... Oh, and he gets the flash out.
And I guess that's why Nightscale was saving flash for so long. But Hiloshia is here as well. Nocturne might be in trouble. Skyfalls for me has flash. He can get out if he needs to. Elise damage is too much. Nightscale goes in as well. He might be able to return the kill on K-Drum, but he gets snared up by the Nautilus. I think he's dead.
Yeah.
Because attack value going crazy. And that is the kill for the Elise.
No, so I definitely think, although a very odd pick coming from Elise, the press the attack is working very well in her favor because she's able to go in that spider form and just go all in.
Yeah, I wonder if that affects what she's maxing as well. No, I don't think there's any way you're maxing anything but Q on Elise, but it would be funny to see the W max just for that extra attack speed while in the spider form. Galio is sitting mid. Scatter the Week is going to land, and there is no follow-up. So, yeah, nice Scatter the Week by Pascal just to get a little bit more poke onto Symptomatic Link, who actually took no damage, so I don't... Yeah, my guess... Yeah. Galio is going to be returning to the bot lane, and
not too much going on now. It looks like Sky might be looking for Rift soon to hopefully get that early gold before plates go down now that it's up.
Yeah, pings are coming down on it. Elise is bot side. I don't think CU Boulder is looking to contest, but Nerdist the Ward has the priority in the top lane. I don't think this is something he wants to take though.
And even if he does contest, at least I mean K-Drama is still all the way in the bot jungle, so not much he can get off considering Sky has their smite up.
Yeah, so CU Boulder maintaining this about 1k gold lead. Elise is down in the bot lane, possibly threatening a dive along with the Nautilus ult. TP coming down, Galio going in. No taunt yet. Pascal is here. And that's wow. The Nautilus is just dead to the
not too much just happened there. I mean, it was a clean play coming out from UW.
Yeah,
Very chill
TP.
textbook.
Great teleport coming out from Pascal to react to the possible dive from CU Boulder. But that doesn't mean he might give up a wave mid lane. I think he does. Symptomatic Link is going to get his recall off. No plates taken by him. And yeah, game returns to neutral state, I suppose.
Yeah, it's still pretty early enough where they're not going to roam too much other than what's necessary to help out the team, really.
Yeah, nothing.
But Dragon will be up soon, so hopefully we will get a little fight there between, because no one really has prio bot or mid, so I think we will be able to get a good little Dragon fight.
Yeah, this is the second drag with UW taking the first Ocean, so it will be interesting to see what soul we get this game, especially if UW manages to get this Dragon as well. That will put them at 2 drags, and next drag would be Soul Point. What is it? Yeah, not Soul Point yet, but it'll put them at 2 drags.
No, and luckily with the objectives that they've gained, even with the kill disparity, they're about 200 gold off. So, and unfortunately we lose our CU Boulder support once again. So nice little break for us one more time.
Yeah, and just talking about the game state, as you said, UW does have this Dragon advantage. They also still are holding on to the Rift Herald, I believe. So this gold lead doesn't really exist for CU Boulder actually. Once the Rift Herald does get dropped, gold should about even out.
Yeah, and it's not big enough to really make a big difference as a whole for the team. And once it gets to like 1,000, then you can start seeing more differences. But now that they've cleared it back up, I think it's pretty even.
Yeah, with this Dragon live now, we see that UW does have the TP advantage as well in top, so Nightscale can join this fight if needed. But notice the ward is having this push in the top lane, which could force Nightscale to possibly give up minions if he does want to join the fight.
I'm also noticing that with UW, we don't really have any deep wards. We've really kept our vision mostly to our side. Like, we haven't really tried to look into their objectives very much, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, even CU Boulder, they only really have the one ward over the Dragon Pit. So I'm pretty sure the supports just haven't really gotten the opportunity to really get their wards and start warding up in the enemy jungle. It doesn't appear that either team is immediately on the Dragon yet. It seems we are having a bit of technical issues. Oh, there we go. It
better.
Yeah.
Just another quick one, and Nocturne goes in.
Oh, good flash to get the fear off. Kaisa goes in as well. Galio with the ult as on top, and that's 2 clean kills by UW.
And I think that should give them Dragon. I mean, there's not much that the Elise and the cast will be able to do. They might contest a little bit, but they definitely can't do too much to stop 4 people and the Rift from getting bot lane.
But notice the ward barely misses out on that solo kill in the top lane as well. Things very much going UW's way right now, and I think with the Dragon fight having finished, Nightscale is most likely just gonna TP top to gather this wave, since it doesn't seem it's necessary for the bot lane, and that is exactly what he's gonna do. Make sure he doesn't miss out on too much.
Yeah, and not surprising, UW gets the Dragon, and the Gold League is back in their favor because of that play. Really, really well done, I think, both by Skyfalls and Miley going and engaging.
Yeah, and this is exactly the combo we were talking about in the draft as well, right? With the Nocturne ulting down into the bot lane with the Galio ulting on top of him is just a very good surprise tactic that I don't think CU Boulder was prepared for.
Yeah, what do you think is going to come out of the fact that we are having Hextech Drake instead of any of the other ones?
Hextech Drake has to be one of my favorite souls to get. I just think it's really broken.
Oh yeah.
If you're a UW fan, I would be very, very happy to see them on the board with 2 drags.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely. They have way prio for objectives currently. Even with CU Boulder still being ahead in kills, I don't think that really matters at this point because it's close enough, and UW has all the objectives so far.
Yeah, especially with the Rift Herald coming down before. Possible engage down bot.
Engage on Miley.
Hook lands, and that's kill. Yep.
Unfortunately, just out of position, really. Pushed too far up for not having her support around.
Yeah, not much you could do there. to really outplay that, even if I believe she had flash at the time of the play. You just get Nautilus ulted, you get hugged,
Yeah.
you get autoed, next thing you know, you're dead. It's a Nautilus classic.
Yeah, I mean, Miley possibly could have flashed deeper under turret to hopefully not let the Nautilus Q onto her, but I think it's definitely smart to save that flash, considering they could have been dead either way.
Yeah, especially with the pressure that the Elise does provide CU Boulder. It is very scary to be either Syndra or Kaisa in this situation without flash. Speaking of the Elise, she is getting jumped on by Sky Falls for me and is forced to flash. Scatter of the Week has not been used. The repel will be, and I think K-Drama is out. Yeah,
makes it out, but uses their flash to get out. So
yeah,
worth it, but unfortunately that flash has a way longer timer than Nocturnal. That's always one of the things I think that bugs me the most, is because Nocturnal is so good, because especially once you get it to level 3, it has like not even a minute cooldown. Yeah, like currently, as you can see, as Nocturne pings, 70 seconds is the current cooldown. So in another minute, we're gonna have probably another play come right back out.
Exactly. Oh, Nightscale with the ultimate down top. Skyfalls for me is here as well, and honestly, yeah, Nar's just dead. Very squishy in the base form, so just gets blown up by the Orn W. Actually, that was a lot more damage than I was expecting to come out from that auto attack.
No, and surprisingly, even with the vision that Nerdist had in the river, not much came out of it.
What a scatter of the week! And yeah, that's a failed dive on the side of CU Boulder. They definitely did not expect Pascal to be there, who just absolutely just catches them off guard with the scatter of the week, and that's just another quick 2 kills for UW. 3 if you count the kill in the top lane as well.
Yeah, no, Pasco has been doing a really good job on rotating to help out bot lane. It's definitely really put them ahead.
Yeah, Symptomatic Link just not being able to really follow up on these realms, just because the Syndra just has such
possibly
better pushing
a dive
power.
Coming in on Elise.
Yeah, I think. Oh, the repel comes out. Galio is still quite on the chase, but they're not going to be able to find anything, especially with the rest of CU Boulder coming down as well.
No, smarter than they have to make it out, because they knew that more of the team was coming down, so it wasn't worth the chase after the Elise. Now that the bounty isn't as big.
Yeah, it looks like they actually have a ward on the Gromp, so they saw the rest of the team coming down. Meanwhile, Skyfalls for me is completing the Rift Herald, so another Rift Herald in the bag of UW. And I would imagine it is most likely going to be dropped to mid lane once this dragon spawns, just to give them a little more pressure, and to put UW on Soul's point once they do, if they do manage to get this drag.
Yeah, and looks like they're going to start trying to get bot prio in order to move to this dragon.
Yeah, Paranoia comes down onto Waterwave. Waterwave has flash, and ult comes out, doesn't flash, Scatter of the Week lands, and that's a dead Xayah.
Yeah, no, I mean, once she uses her ult, she really has nothing more she can do to get out of those situations. Yeah. And Nocturne likely will be going, or Nautilus will likely be going around soon. Oh, but Flash is over the wall, leaving Cassiopeia behind.
Oh yeah, Symptomatic Link flashing towards the wrong side of the map, trying to get out to play, but K-Drama is going to be managed to kill off Skyfalls for me, and with the repel gets away over the wall. Oh no, never mind, Scatter of the Week's going to find it.
What a wonderful combo between Nightscale and Pasco, killing the Elise to make sure they still have Dragon Prio.
Yeah, I think, especially with Skyfalls for me having died to K-Drama, you definitely wanted to kill off the enemy jungler, even if you have numbers advantage, just to make sure that there is no chance of a possible steal.
No, and especially being on blue side with Elise, like she doesn't. Most junglers, when you're on blue side, like might be able to come over the wall, but with Elise, she would still be able to pretty easily get in there and steal the dragon if needed. So definitely really good by them to get her down.
Yep, K-Drama definitely has been making the most of the repel, using it to get out of a lot of tricky situations, and like you said, it could set up very easily for a possible dragon steal.
We possibly get a look at items really quick. Thank you. Oh gosh, and look at the Syndra at 7 kills. Yeah, I knew they were high up at this point, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the video of Virtue actually also finished by Nightscale. I know it's been nerfed on the patch. Paranoia has been cast, but I don't know if it's gonna find the target, and it's not. might have saw the Xayah on the ward thinking that it was a possible jump opportunity, but once the Nautilus shows himself next to her as well, possibly didn't want to risk it.
And again, a pretty even CS across the board, other than obviously Nocturne still being pretty ahead by Elise at about 50 CS in front. So not surprising there, because Elise obviously needs to focus on keeping her laners in check rather than worrying about her own jungle clear.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And a
Mini
little
trade
fight in the
happening
bot
down.
lane.
Oh, the Gnar ult actually catches on to the Ornn pillar. That's a kind of cool interaction. Meanwhile, team fight happening mid. TP coming down. Cassiopeia is here. W, there's nowhere for the Galio to go.
And I think they get that Rift Herald down before it hits the tower as well. Oh no, it gets off. They don't quite have enough damage. So mid tower goes down.
Meanwhile, both top laners just trading blows back and forth as top laners do.
Nothing surprising. only difference is they're doing it in a different lane. Oh, and the engage on Nautilus.
It's a lot of damage coming out from the Mally. He is not able to get the passive to proc again. W lands onto the Elise, but there is, nowhere else to go with the Kai'Sa ult being used already. Waterwave's flash is going to be forced out by the threat of Pascal with his Scatter of the Weak and Unleash Power being available to him as well. Yeah,
Cassiopeia looks like she's looking for top tower as well to hopefully get some objectives on their side.
Has to be careful though. Skyfalls for me is heading up there and he has ultimate as well.
That's the really hard part about pushing into a game when they have a Nocturne is you really can't push when you're by yourself or you're any squishy character.
Speaking of, with the spell shield as well, dodges the Cassiopeia ult and just this is gonna be an auto fest. Actually, Supermatic Link getting a lot of damage down.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think if he didn't have flash, Cassiopeia might have been able to get the kill there, but unfortunately, he was able to close the distance on that.
Finds the hook onto the Mally. Cocoon lands as well, and that's a kill.
Mally just goes down. Can't really do much about that once you get Nautilus hooked. Especially, I mean, had their flash, but with Glacial Augment, it just traps you there, really.
Yeah, good Hex Flash from the Nautilus to get over the wall and land that initial hook. Good follow-up by K-Drama as well, who flashed Cocoon just to guarantee the kill.
And looks like we're getting, another tower, but Gnar is able to get a tower bot lane to kind of even that trade out.
And Galio is roaming down, trying to cover for Night Scale just in case. K-Drama is still here, who he is, but he is gonna go ahead and finish his back now, as will Nerdist Orin. So, I don't think we have a dragon timer up. Do we know when dragon is spawned? Oh, there we go. Thank you, Galio. Dragon is up in just under 3 minutes. Yep.
Yeah, no, I don't think we have one normally, but luckily Galio is also watching out for that. Well, you are. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be pretty chill, hopefully, likely until dragon comes up. But obviously, they're gonna be looking for those engages, and Kai'Sa goes in.
Yeah, I mean, Scatter of the Weak lands onto the Gnar, and it's Mally instantly going in, but so is Skyfalls for me.
Nocturne might go down, but they aren't focusing him.
Yeah, and I mean, it seemed like it was a bit of a scattered fight on the side of CU Boulder, and it's going to continue. Are you going to see another scatter? No, that's just Nautilus dead.
I think Xayah already used their E
Xayah's dead. Yep.
I think Xayah could have gotten way more use out of that if they hadn't used their E so early. But unfortunately, and the flash comes out actually, but I don't think that helps. Yeah, and looks like they'll probably just rotate to Baron.
And we were talking about this push to R button comp from UW, and that's exactly what we see this fight. Scatter the Weak lands onto Nerd is the word, and instantly Mally is there with the Kai'Sa ultimate. The Skyfalls for me follows up very quickly with the Paranoia as well, and that is enough to really just split CU Boulder's team. We saw about like 3 members just stuck in the river while Waterwave and Logia, I believe, were trying to follow up from behind the blue buff, and they just weren't able to get there fast enough, so the fight just ends.
Unfortunately, Nocturne misses his Q, and the spell shield comes up.
Oh, it's a tragedy.
So sad, but they're obviously trying to get this Hex Tech Drake because this is soul point, so they don't want UW to get to this, especially only 24 minutes into the game.
And this is scary for CU Boulder. Almost all ultimates are up on the side of UW. Oh, the engage is starting now. Paranoia comes down. Oh, Nautilus is already dead. And Skyfalls for me is going to engage onto the Xayah. Massive Gnar ult onto 2 members. Xayah just leaves the fight. And wow, that's just a wipe.
Yeah, I think, I mean, likely probably one more fight, but they're just going to try and push up mid and end the game after they get this soul point.
Yeah, I mean, they have Baron as well. They're just gonna probably full send here, right?
Yeah, I think they grab mid inhib and then probably back off, considering Nautilus will be up soon, and then Xayah will be up right after.
Yeah. Yeah, Xayah is on the 10-second cooldown. Demolish is gonna come out from nowhere, making this a little faster. And yeah, their UW actually splits very smartly, making the Kai'Sa go down bot lane just so he could get another tower, since they most likely aren't getting much more other than this inhib. And yeah, so that's a quick 2 towers and an inhib for UW.
I think backs will come in, and then after they back, I'm wondering what items will be looking like, because that's definitely a lot of golds coming from both Soul and the full ace on the team. And yeah, Syndra extends her lead with the 10-0. I mean, not much you can really do as a Cassiopeia at that point, already behind in a lane matchup. It really, I mean, you have to try and get that CS lead, but again, it's hard to do when UW is already pushing all the lanes at all points.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Mally is also just casually up an item and a half over Water Wave, so there's a big difference in both carries on both sides. Oh, another fight breaking out. Nautilus finds the hook and the ultimate onto the Galio. Skyfalls for me is jumping onto the Xayah. Pascal, or an ult comes down.
They can barely kill that guy. Oh my gosh. All 3 of them were on him the whole time, and just no damage came out for Galio, and they died for it.
Yeah, just stalling for so long, the entire UW roster is able to make it to the fight, and I think that's just game.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything that they could do at this point to possibly bring this back?
No, I think the game's over.
Yeah.
With the TP coming down, Baron is still up, super minions are on the doorstep of the Nexus turrets, and I
the
think
flash over the wall, yeah, I think they know it as well.
Yeah, that's
pretty quick game, 26 minutes. I mean, up with UW's record, and again, like we predicted, I mean, once you let them get that early snowball, considering they're a mid-game team, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, I mean, UW just played to their comp extremely well, just waiting for ultimates, and once the ults were up, they were just ready to go. And yeah, it just seemed like CU Boulder just could never really find a fight. Like you said, they were able to get a catch onto Galio in that last fight, but they just weren't able to get enough damage to kill him. Once the paranoia came down, it was chaos. Xayah had to flash over the red buff wall and was not able to continue putting that damage, and yeah, they just end up getting wiped.
No, and again, I mean, not much you can do. Once we hit about 20 minutes and they were getting to 3rd Dragon and then Soul Point, they really, I mean, they were just so behind that they weren't able to get that early game snowball on CU Boulder's side. They really had to prevent that Nocturne from helping out his team, which is so hard to do when you're against a Nocturne, but unfortunately, it looks like CU Boulder just loses. I mean, going even like that last fight, going for the Galio and all 3 of them being on him and still getting nothing out of it.
Yeah, and we were talking about CU Boulder's win condition before the game as well. And actually, KGMA was able to get a small lead like in the beginning of the game, to get a small lead in certain lanes at the very least at the beginning of the game, finding successful ganks in both the top lane and the bot lane. But to do so, he ended up giving up a lot of farm just to make sure that these lanes were winning. And as a result, Skyfalls for me just doesn't care. He just keeps farming. He hits his level 6 and then just swings the game for his team. It definitely helped that Pascal was just single-handedly winning lane by himself as well.
And again, really not surprising coming from UW, just trying to get that snowball off for the mid and the ADC, because that like the ADC especially, and maybe not as much in this game, but normally is their win con. So not really focusing on top because you never really have to, but getting Syndra so ahead and getting Kai'Sa pretty ahead after a quick fall in the start was definitely a really good plan from them.
Yeah, definitely agree. But luckily for CU Boulder, this is not a best of 1. We are playing a best of 3 today, so they will get another chance to strike back at UW. Are there any adaptations you would like to see CU Boulder make for this next game?
I think the main thing for CU Boulder is just going to be only getting what they need. So I think their issue in that game was they'd get a kill, but then they'd kind of continue to push, rather than kind of taking a second and looking at the map as a whole. I think their jungler hopefully will pick something that is able to contest with Nocturne more if they pick something like Nocturne again, or maybe ban it. I just think they need to contest those objectives early on, especially with a jungler like Skye.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they also have to do a much better job of just tracking Skye and definitely tracking Pascal as well, who had a few very key roams during that game just to make sure that his bot lane did eventually regain the lead. So we'll definitely want to see them be a bit more... I like their proactivity, but they do have to be a bit more cautious of possibly, like you said, over aiming and ending up getting punished by a roam by Pascal or a follow-up by the Skyfalls for me.
Yeah, I think they just needed to protect their Elise as a whole, and unfortunately once the shutdown gold was given over twice, there really was nothing more, because as Elise, once you run out of that advantage, you don't have much you can do. Because what Elise is counting on is being able to be an assassin and jump on people in one shot. So once she loses that advantage in front of their team, in front of the squishies like the mid or the bot laner, there's not too much that can be done, because once you're behind, especially both on farm and now behind on kills versus the other jungler, I mean, it's a hard thing to come back from.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I mean, we mentioned it already. That team definitely required a kind of like a snowball in the early game just to like get the lead, because like UW had such an easy to execute comp in the mid lane, where in the mid game, where it was just just push buttons and just kill people. I mean, it can't really be any easier than that.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they're gonna ban more of what they played last game, or if they're gonna keep up with the bans that they had the first time around. What do you think?
I think for the way I see it is CU Boulder's bans made a lot of sense against this UW team. You can't really give the Skyfalls for me Kayn, and I don't think it's a good idea to give Caitlyn over to Mally either. So it kind of feels like those two bans are kind of like, they kind of feel like locks to me, which makes the ban phase a lot harder for the side of CU Boulder.
No, I think it's really hard to plan the draft pick around it, because with a team like UW, there's so much and there's so many strengths that the team has as a whole, so it's hard to really find a way to both ban and then pick things that will be strong against what they are going to play.
Yeah, no, definitely. I kind of want to see maybe something more the first one that comes to mind is Desperate, but maybe that's not quite right. I want to see maybe CU Boulder pick something a bit surprising, try to catch UW off guard with a pick that they've been practicing. Maybe say Annie for Symptomatic Link. I think that with the recency of the Annie buff, Symptomatic Link might be able to catch Pascal off guard with the Annie pick, and I just think it's a really strong pick, so I would like to see it come out this game, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
No, I'm hoping we get to see an Annie pick, but unfortunately, I think just because of how strong she is, neither team really wants to let the other team let it go up for grabs, so I'd be very surprised if they let it go through to draft. Because I think right now, sitting at such a high win rate and with these buffs, like there's really, up to a point, there's only so much you can do against her.
Maybe UW is feeling really confident going into this draft and decide to just, leave it open. But yeah, like you said, I will have to concede that it is most likely getting banned by UW again.
Otherwise, do you think UW will kind of keep with the same picks if they can this time around, or do you think they're going to try and switch it up a little bit?
I think the big thing is UW and CU Boulder are switching sides, so CU Boulder is going to get access to first pick this game. We saw Mally have a really good performance on the Kai'Sa last game, and I think a priority of CU Boulder should be to get comfort. I think Waterwave had really good moments on the Xayah as well. We saw some really nice blade callers. We saw that early Flash E that secured a kill onto the Galio, I believe. But I think after that first game, you should prioritize getting your players on picks that they're really comfortable on, and I think, to me, that means getting a Waterwave onto Kai'Sa.
Yeah, no, I fully agree on that. Because definitely, because now they have first pick and they can't get that kind of taken out from under their feet, that'll be a big thing. And again, it's not like they had a bad start of their game last game. Like they had a really good start. It's just I think they let it go because they got so confident. So I think they kind of have to take a step back from that and kind of think more about the long con rather than like the short term, like, ooh, we could get this kill. I think they have to plan out more, have a more sophisticated view of it really, so that they can try and work around UW, considering UW is such a strong team in CLoL currently.
Yeah, and also, I also thought that Hiloshia had a really strong performance on the Nautilus, and the Kai'Sa Nautilus lane is a fairly strong lane, so if we could get both of those picks onto the bot lane of CU Boulder, I think that would work very well for them. Other than that, I don't think the Cassiopeia was really working for Symptomatic Link. To be fair, I think CU Boulder got a bit baited into picking the Cassiopeia once they saw the Galio come out. But yeah, we'll definitely see if they could get a better matchup for their mid laner in this game as we enter picks and bans.
So yeah, I think it'll be pretty standard again. So yeah, Kane comes out first. Not surprising at all. Like, it's just, I mean, it's really hard to ban around these teams because CU Boulder, I think, is really banning based on what UW plays, whereas UW is banning more on what's good right now, which I think is a really cool thing to kind of see the difference of. So yeah, same bans really coming out again with a Zach ban, an Annie ban, and a Caitlyn ban after.
Yeah, and like it just feels like these are like must-ban champions. Like the Kane Caitlyn, you can't give over to UW. Zach and Annie are just so strong that you just don't want to give to any team. So these bans are just, yeah, there's nothing you can really do to make your bans better, I think. So it makes sense that they're kind of keeping them the same from last game.
No, but I do think it is surprising to see. Oh, the Nocturne ban comes out, which I was kind of expecting, considering it's really hard to play against that with any other jungler because you have to have something that really can fully counter it, which maybe K-Drama doesn't quite know or feel comfortable with, which would make sense to put that in the bans this time. But the Silas ban comes out again.
Yeah, so UW staying standard, and I'm expecting the Kai'Sa to get first picked here. But it's gonna be the Kai'Sa. Yeah. So I'm kind of interested to see what UW decides to respond with. I know Mali is a very, very good Samira player. I'm not sure how that lane goes. I would imagine it's Samira favored.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen too much of Samira as a whole, even since she came out. Oh, and we might get a Maokai pick, which is very, very popular as of late.
Yeah, it's a little interesting though, because when UW does pick Maokai, it tends to go to the top lane rather than the jungle, where it is probably the most powerful right now. Not that Maokai top is bad, but it's just that the saplings and everything just help so much with the Maokai early clear, and the ability to either go full AP with First Strike or Radiant Virtue is very beneficial for the Maokai jungle.
Looks like AD is looking towards either going an opposite of what they went last game, or they were even hovering Samira for a second, but they end up going with the Xayah, which means they're gonna have a swap of what we had last game, which I think will be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I think Water Wave's Xayah definitely gave Mali's Kai'Sa a bit of trouble in the early game, so it will be interesting to see how it goes now that the rules are reversed. K-Drama's hovering the Shyvana. It would be interesting to see a complete change of pace from the side of CU Boulder, going from the early aggressive jungler in Elise to a high performer in Shyvana, and it's actually going to get locked in. So it kind of seems like a bit of a change in strategy for the side of CU Boulder.
Yeah, no, I definitely think now that they've seen exactly how UW plan a game, which is how aggressive UW is, they look to be looking for more of that.
Yeah, and that's one of the kind of one of the paradoxes of playing against a really early game team, right? On one hand, if you do go this kind of scaling style, you're kind of giving up the priority in the early game to the other team, right? But if you try to match in the early game and you can't like match them, then you're still like giving the game over. So I definitely do think that going for like the more scaling jungle here does make sense, just because, you know, it gives you something to kind of fall back on.
And the Cinder pick comes out again, as well as a Nautilus support pick on the CU Boulder's side again. So going with the same Nautilus in bot lane, which I think is really smart. I think their Nautilus played really well last time, even with being behind. But I definitely really like the Cinder pick coming out again for UW because I think it's been used really well and they obviously know what they're doing with it.
Yep, Pascal's scatters of the week that game were really good, and it also gives them the chance to kind of protect the Syndra pick with bans as they enter in the second phase of bans. So we're gonna see, for example, Yone get banned out, and I would imagine for the side of CU Boulder, they might try and match with a few support bans just to force UW to go for something lower on the tier list.
And I think with having that Cinder pick, it's really smart to ban the Yone because Yone is really easy. Like if you miss your stun on Syndra, Yone can just go all in and there's not much you can do. So yeah. I think that's really smart, as well as we see a Renata ban coming from CU Boulder, which is really sad because I mean I love watching Renata. I think Renata is such a fun addition to this game, but definitely smart considering what the team is, and it's going to be a very attack heavy team as of now, and possibly they want to aim for a more attack heavy team with their last 2 picks.
Yeah, and another mid lane ban, but on the side of UW, they're going to ban out the Nivea. I think it just makes a lot of sense. You pick your mid laner, the other side doesn't. You pick so you protect your pick with some more mid lane bans. On the other side, CU Boulder is going to finish off their second round of bans with Ornn, which I think makes a lot of sense. The Ornn was causing a lot of havoc in those team fights, and it's just generally a really good tank for the top lane.
No, but I really do like this kind of yin-yang thing where CU Boulder is banning what UW plays, whereas UW is just kind of banning what's good for them. Because I'm wondering if that's more either they know that CU Boulder is both good at it, or if it's more of a we know this is strong and we don't really care about what CU Boulder picks as a whole. So I think that's a really funny like difference between the two.
I actually think this is another case where UW is kind of flexing a pick, and CU Boulder is getting baited into picking like maybe a soft counter into it. If I had to guess, I think this is Shen's support. Actually, either way, Gwen is probably pretty good into Maokai as well, so I guess
yeah,
it's
we'll
not
have
too
to
big
see.
of a bait.
I think a Shen support would be really fun versus a Kai'Sa Nautilus, but I really like that. I'm also really liking the Gwen pick. I think Gwen's also really fun to watch. So I'm really gonna enjoy this matchup between if it's Maokai top, if it's gonna be that, because I think that's a really cool. Ooh, so we might actually have a Maokai jungle, surprisingly for UW.
I think this might be Zed's jungle with
Really?
Shen top, Maokai support.
It is. Ooh. I have not seen a Zed jungle in so long, so I'm actually really excited to see this from UW, but
Or
obviously
Maokai support.
pretty standard coming out from the side of CU Boulder, but I mean UW is just going kind of off the rails to really bait CU Boulder into everything. I think Shen into Gwen is really good for UW. And then I think Maokai versus Nautilus will be really fun with the poke, and considering they both have to go in, so Nautilus hitting that Q isn't really too detrimental to the Maokai.
Yeah, I was actually... So my thought process was, I thought it was going to be Shen support and Maokai jungle, and they were going to save a top pick for R5. But no, it appears that like, hey, we're just going to pick Shen. If you guys, it's and the enemy teams, they see the enemy team pick Gwen. They're like, hey, the Shen playing into the Gwen seems pretty good, so we're just going to toss him top lane, toss this Maokai down to the bot lane, and yeah, just end the draft with a jungle pick. Very smart drafting from UW both of these games.
Yeah, no, both games, I think it's really cool to kind of see how they play so many characters that can kind of be moved around. Because again, Zed's normally a mid laner, Shen can really go top or support a lot, and Maokai can really be done anywhere at this point. He's such a versatile pick. So I think it's really easy for them to kind of really mess with kind of the mindset of CU Boulder to try and get in there and hopefully have CU Boulder counter pick into something that they can work around.
Yeah, I will say though, I think the Maokai into the Nautilus is gonna be a very interesting matchup to watch. Just because I think when I think of CC, those are two of the first champions I think of. So it will be interesting to see how explosive this boss lane could get with both of these supports.
Yeah, no, and I mean the engage from UW's team again is gonna be wonderful with the Maokai ult as well as the Shen ult. I think these team fights are gonna be crazy. Whereas like the ults on on CU Boulder's side aren't gonna be as crazy, really. I mean, it's more chill. They do have some engage, but it's not as much, really, because the Shen ult is really great for team fights like at Dragon. Whereas if he ults and Gwen is stuck up top without a TP up, it'll be pretty hard, especially now with the teleport changes and not having unleashed teleport until 14 minutes. I think Shen will be able to help out his team a lot more than Gwen will be able to.
Yeah. I'm also curious on this Shyvana pick by K-Drama. I'm interested to see what kind of build he goes. It's honestly been a long time since I've seen a Shyvana. Last time I saw one, I believe the build was for AP. Not sure if that's changed or not. If it, I have to imagine though it's not going to be a full AP Shyvana just because how heavy CU Boulder's comp is geared towards AP damage with the Gwen, Victor, and Kaisa. So I'm very curious to see what that build is going to look like.
Yeah, I think I could go either way, because I mean they could have two ways of thinking, where either it's they want to have that peel with the Shyvana, whereas if she goes tanky, she still has some damage, or if they want to try and have that Shyvana where she can pick up the Xayah or the Syndra really quickly to help out those team fights. So it's going to be curious to see if they go for that more aggressive play, or if they try and keep it more simple to hopefully kind of keep it standard and smooth for the start of the game.
Yeah, because my guess would either... Actually, now that I think about it, you could also kind of go a mixture of both, right? With like the Demonic Embrace giving you a decent amount of ability power while you're building Tinky. So that could be something we see from the Shyvana as well.
But looks like we're about to get into the game. We're finally out of Champ Select. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how this game goes. I really like the picks that UW has, and hopefully, I mean, it'll be a little longer. Even though UW might not want that for their record, I think having a little longer game and kind of seeing how this late game goes would be really, really cool, especially with these two team comps.
Yeah, a very different game plan from the side of CU Boulder this game, right? With the Shyvana, who is majorly a farming jungler, and the Victor, who is absolutely a late game monster.
Looks like CU Boulder is headed more for a mid to bot look, whereas UW is looking for more very spread out again. Whereas the Gwen is right in between the Shen and the Zed. But yeah, not gonna be too much creative. No flash queuing, no. But Zed with the first strike, and the Syndra has actually switched to Airy this time, which I think is smart into a lane where it's gonna be a lot more small poke with a Victor who can stay farther versus a Cassiopeia who has to get in pretty close to get CS and stuff.
Yeah, it's just really easy for the Victor to get the first hit onto the Syndra with the long-range laser, so it makes sense to opt out of going for the first strike in this game. Fairly standard level 1, like you said. Skyfall for me does get a reward in that river bush, but
we do have an invade coming in the top.
Oh, by...
Looks like they were just deep warding, but by CU Boulder they just got a deep ward in the bush, but they were looking for a second there.
Yeah, just getting a ward down. One of the things we mentioned was getting this better tracking on this guy's falls for me, and I think that ward on Raptor is gonna kind of just tell them like where he is, how fast he is clearing, and where he is most likely to go.
No,
So
I think that's really smart.
Mm-hmm.
Cause yeah, I mean, now that he's on Zed, it'll be a little bit easier because he doesn't have that ult that fully teleports him. But
Yeah.
They definitely just need to keep an eye out and a quick engage.
Oh, just a quick level 1 trade. Ignite comes down, the heal is forced. And just a quick trade of summoners, but Xayah health bar is fairly low, probably gonna have to pop a pot. Quick trade happening down in, up in the top lane. Meanwhile, Shyvana did get that leash clear, so she is working her way on up. Zed is already on the move towards the top lane though. When Shen gets level 2,
yeah, for that first fight, Gwen got the level 2, so she had the advantage there, but now that he's coming in for she's so out of place with Zed coming in from the river, and I think that's going to be a first blood.
Yeah, no flash on the Gwen who opted to go for Ghost. You do have to be careful of the Gwen's damage.
A flash in place coming out from Skye. Probably a misclick, I would assume, but...
Most likely a panic.
Yeah. Most likely oh, I'm 1 HP, I should probably kill this Gwen before she just gets a double kill. Because very, very easy for Gwen to turn fights around. I mean, she has... Oh,
How did
and a flash? Yeah,
that happen? Water Wave just walks up too far into the Maokai W range, just gets rooted, gets knocked back into the turret by the Q, I would imagine, and is just forced to use both summoner spells.
Yeah, I'm really curious about on what the Holosia was doing as well, because there's no deep ward or anything, and they knew Zed was top. So the fact that Holosia wasn't in lane and Water Wave ended up all the way under their tower when Maokai doesn't have a pull is definitely very interesting. Wondering how that happened, but luckily no deaths there. Just unfortunately some summoner spells did have to be burned to get out of that.
Yeah, definitely would like to see what happened. Most likely a miscommunication, but at the very least, Kaisa makes it out alive. Does have to use both summoners, but she is able to make it back into lane to catch this wave on the turret.
No, but I think that sets up UW much better in the bot lane because I mean they have both their flashes still, whereas CU Boulder has none so far, or neither of their bot lane flashes, so they might be able to get an easy engage if Sky comes down to the bot lane again. And looks like he's looking for something on the Nautilus right now. He's 2 levels ahead.
Yeah, and the Scout of the Week will land, and that is a dead Nautilus.
I mean, they know he doesn't have flash this early, so it makes sense to do that.
That was an absolutely tragic series of events. So K-Drama just casually walks up to Pascal, like from the top push. Pascal flashes out, so the Nautilus tries to flash hook, but gets blocked by a minion, but Maokai's here to kill the Kaisa possibly again. Sky Falls for me is here as well, the damage is going to come down. Is it a... Yeah, that's a second death. With no summoner spells, there's nowhere for her to go.
I mean, they're already 2,000 gold ahead this early. There's barely any summoner spells left on the side of CU Boulder, especially in the bot lane. It's not looking good for them considering, again, UW is going to go for snowballing as quickly as possible, which, of course, the idea coming from CU Boulder is to try and prevent that, but it's going to be hard to do it at this point. But they go in all the way for the Nautilus, and they're going to get up.
Yep. I definitely see the call there. K-Drama and Mali are going to have a bit of a fight, but yeah, they're just with the root landing from the Blade Caller, there's no way for K-Drama to win that fight. And I see why the call was made. It was just kind of trying to get a return onto the enemy bot lane for CU Boulder, especially with Monk Career being so low on the Maokai. Unfortunately, Nautilus goes in a bit early, just gets counted by the Maokai, and just ends up dying before the Shyvana is even really able to make it.
I was gonna wonder what the Xayah's at, and like we see it's pinged by the Nautilus that they have a 300 gold bounty if we could get the stats pulled up really quick. Yeah, 3-0 already. Luckily, Kaisa still has a little bit of CS, but not enough to make it worth it, really. And Zed's obviously ahead, and here we have Maokai going, and another kill for Zed, so we have 2 3-0s now on the side of UW, and 2 very important spots in the jungle and the bot lane.
Yeah, Victor just being up a little too far, gets caught by the Scout of the Week, has the flash, but since both Nautilus and... Gwen quite doesn't have quite enough damage, but Skyfall for me is here too! He's just everywhere! Yeah,
no, and I mean, this is definitely a smart pick with the Nocturne ban, because that really allows you to just go everywhere on the map. Because, I mean, he doesn't really have to do much, because he is an assassin, and they don't have a tanky top laner. So that's an easy pick for them, considering it's going to be a pretty even trade between both Shen and Gwen.
Yeah, I was going to say that CU Boulder's one advantage was in the top lane, but with that kill he's going to be pushed down more. Deathmark lands onto the Symptomatic Leak, and he's just dead! That was so much damage coming out of the side of UW with Sky Falls for me and Pascal. And yeah, there's nowhere for Symptomatic Link to go, so he just ends up falling. Nautilus is going to walk up, get the snare here. But the Xayah return damage, Shen, oh my... Yeah.
Yeah, do you think there's anything at this point that CU Boulder will be able to do against a super fed Xayah and Zed?
Well, they got a dragon, so that's something. That's making use of Shyvana's passive. That's nice to have. Pascal is gonna come down.
No, but look, UW is fully pushed into their jungle. Like they don't have really much, and he's teleporting back top, but they are just everywhere.
Skyforce for me has a Prowler's Claw, and K-Drama has a Blasting Wand. I think it's because K-Drama hasn't backed yet, but that is pretty much explaining the state of the game at this point.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's gonna be a mix of both. Not having a back from Shyvana as well as Zed just being so far ahead. But looks like Maokai might go down here.
Oh, but not. Oh, Maokai's able to survive it. What a way!
I think they might turn this.
Yeah, Q comes out. Oh, the chomp from Shyvana is
but the
enough,
E
and
is
the W.
enough.
Yep.
Really
Good
smart
kills
from
coming
Shyvana.
on.
I think that Miley probably should have held the E a little longer, because if they did, I think they would have gotten more than just the kill on the Kaisa, but still not bad having 3 people come bot, or having 3 down bot versus 2 and still being able to get a pick off.
Yeah. And on that back, Kjoma is gonna be able to finish the Demonic Embrace, so that answers the question of the build path, and does kind of make the builds between the jungler look a lot better. Of course, that is after Kjoma was able to get that double kill down bot.
And I think Sky gets this rift before K-Drama can even make it there, so that'll be another gold lead coming from UW, really just extending what they already have.
Yeah. But very crucial kills for Kjoma there. He is gonna be just trying to salvage these lanes as Victor dies to
yeah.
Yeah.
No, again, I think it's so hard having a Fed Zed jungle.
Yeah.
Because he can really just be everywhere all at once, and the only way to really come back from this is to be able to lock him down with CC coming from like either Nautilus or Victor, but it's just, I mean, it's so hard to really pin him down. So it's going to be a real fight if CU Boulder is going to want to bring this back.
Yeah, it's just, CU Boulder is just in such a hard spot, especially like with just how fed this Zed is. It looks like Kjoma is also trying to spend a lot of time towards this bot lane, trying to make sure that the Xayah doesn't get any further ahead. But you're not really gaining too much right now from trying to cover. And so you're not really like gaining back an advantage. You're just making sure that their advantage doesn't grow any bigger.
Yeah. No, so I really think if they want to win, they'll have to try and knock down this Zed, but looks like he's going for another kill on the Victor mid, which if he gets, I just don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's not, I mean, up to a point, there's only so much you can do, and I think CU Boulder will really have to hope UW really has a big misstep for anything to come.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they're definitely trying to attack this bot lane in return after the the hook lands.
And it hits. Oh, but the Shen ult comes down. Yeah.
Yep. Featherstorm and Flash were also available there for melees, so just in absolutely zero danger there. I don't really know what the correct call is here for Kjoma, but it doesn't really seem like playing around bot is the right call, despite the double kill she got earlier, as Victor's dead again.
I think at this point the only call that you would be able to make is trying to get that Gwen ahead, because once she gets enough attack speed, she can just melt those towers and hopefully just sway UW from pushing any other way, because she could maybe get into inhib or something. But I think at this point the other 2 lanes are pretty back. I mean, it's gonna be hard for anything to happen even with ganks and stuff. Like even if they're left alone, once you have a Xayah that's that far ahead, like you really just have to avoid her. There's not much. She has a 2 level lead. She has gosh knows how many kills at this point ahead. Like it's just, I mean, it's hard to predict what they'd be able to do to bring this back.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think the priority should have been, after that early game, to get this going as ahead as possible. As the needlework stopped the back, Shyvana ults onto trying to get onto the Shen, who just dashes and flashes away. And yeah, they make the quick attempt top lane, which I think is the right call. But since the Shen has the flash available, he just gets out. And with that play happening top for CU Boulder, UW is just able to take this drag and summon the Rift Herald down bot. Don't think CU Boulder is gonna be. Yeah, there is no contest to be had. The Hextech drag will just go over towards UW, and I do think that was like the one advantage that CU Boulder had was that one dragon. But with UW responding with a dragon of their own, it definitely doesn't mean as much.
No, I mean, at this point, it's just gonna be really hard because I mean, to get anything done, you're gonna have to have Nautilus engage, and because you have two high damages really fed on UW's side, he just gets melted so quickly. So you have to really get the most out of engages.
Oh, good engage by the Nautilus here though. Just locking up the Xayah, but the Fatal Storm comes out. Blade Caller is gonna actually just kill the Nautilus. And with the flash available, both flashes followed, and Kai'Sa picks up the kill. I think this is a quick double for Kai'Sa actually.
Yeah, I think it was a really smart play to flash from Kai'Sa, because that, I mean, I mean, it's good to get that extra gold lead, especially when you're getting the big shutdown on Miley and hopefully getting a lot more plates from this tower, hopefully before the plates come down.
Yeah. But on the other hand, Victor is dead again, so Pascal is also just taking, just putting down damage onto that mid lane turret. Is CU Boulder gonna, no, that was Pascal getting the turret, and with the TP bot, I don't think CU Boulder is gonna be able to respond with a turret of their own, and they're not.
Yep, a really smart TP coming out from Pascal going to bot lane to help right before those. Oh, and might get a kill here.
He might die actually, he's in a bit of a dangerous spot. No, flashes forward to get the ultimate down onto the Kai'Sa, but he's gonna trade his life in return.
Oh, and Shun comes in.
Oh, wait, is he really not gonna die? Demonic Abuse is gonna finish him off, but Nightscale is probably gonna be able to chase down the Nautilus here. Xayah's here as well. That's, yeah, oh, the hook doesn't quite reach the wall. And that's another kill for the Xayah.
Yep, and he's able to just go right back top to prevent Gwen from finishing off that tower and getting those objective gold. And with the extra bounty. I think honestly, even with the deaths, I think that was pretty smart being able to get Pasco from that fight. I think it was smart just to be able to go back in even if you knew you were gonna die, to just try and get any kind of gold lead you can.
Notice the oh. Still a really good outplay by Notice the Word there, outplaying the 1v2 to get a kill onto Nightscale. Unfortunately, of course, the Fed Zed, it would have been really big if she could have got the shutdown onto the Zed there well.
I mean, I was just really hoping she does, because then it just makes the game more interesting. I really love seeing when a Gwen player is able to play that well, and definitely really close coming from Nerd is the Word.
Yeah, great fight. Unfortunately, not able to pick off Skyfalls for me. And a hook will land onto the Aftershock Maokai. Ult comes out. Nautilus is already dead. And Scatter of the Week is going to land onto Water Wave. And it's just so much damage. But Water Wave gets out with the flash. And dies to Skyfalls for me. Yeah, that's... oh. K-Drama going in with the Dragon Ult. And yeah, quite the disjointed fight, I would say. Again, it started in top river, ended in bottom river.
3 for 2, definitely much better, even though they got one less kill for the side of CU Boulder. Because, I mean, they need the gold anywhere they can get, and there's not much more that they can give to UW, so I think it's really smart even to just sacrifice to get extra kills if they can.
Yeah, I think it was absolutely huge that Water Wave was able to survive, even for that extra second to get a few more autos down before he got finished off by Skyfalls for me. I'm actually really surprised that Pascal didn't actually just instant blow him up once the Scout of the Week landed.
No, I really wish that Nerd is the Word had ult for that fight, because I think if they did, they had a full Q charge and were able to get a ton of damage off on both Pasco and Miley. So I think they might have been able to get another kill onto Miley, because Pasco still went down if they had that ult, but unfortunately they already used it in the top lane fight against Nightscale.
Yeah, now it looks like Dragon is respawning fairly soon, less than a minute. And so UW is going to make it down here first. With the Maokai saplings being set up, it is fairly hard for CU Boulder to get into here. It looks like Victor is just pushing down top. He has TP available. Oh, but that's a kill.
And that's a kill even before the second part of the R damage comes in. No, I mean now that he has Edge of Night.
Oh, no, that's not quite enough. Yeah, there's
I think they're gonna get Dragon. They're gonna push to inhib. I think there's probably 1 or 2 more team fights left. But now that Zed has Edge of Night, like getting any damage off onto him, because he has to die for them to be able to win this game, and it's gonna be so hard unless they all go in without anyone else nearby to be able to get him down.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just so hard. If you
Are
don't
they going
kill
to
it,
end?
it looks like they might at least take a turret, since
Yeah.
Shelly is still alive.
I think they could get both if they really tried. But now with everyone up, they're focusing more on getting kills again.
No, Lucia is just gonna pop. Whoa, but the Shyvana ult is going to go forward. Moncler drops down low. Needleworks is coming out. Xayah damage is putting down as much damage as possible. Notice the ward goes forward, but gets caught by the blade caller and just blows up. Oh, but the Victor returns the kill onto the Xayah. Deathmark is going to finish him off. Syndra ult does kill the Kai'Sa as well.
Just a
All that's
1v1
is
left.
the junglers. And I think we all know how this one's going to go. Oh, actually. Oh.
Oh. Very close coming out, and I'd be surprised if Zed stays any longer, but luckily, I mean, I think it was kind of dumb for UW to, instead of just getting 2 towers, go for the kills, really. I mean, they probably could have gotten the second tower fully down and had an open nexus, but they didn't, and they lost 4 of their lives for that, which I think is, even though CU Boulder also lost 4, again, it's much more worth it for CU Boulder to lose 4 to get 4 than it is for UW to.
Very importantly, though, the Zed remains deathless, and he's the one with this huge bounty on his head. So, it's just, yeah. I mean, I would imagine that the calls by UW were kind of just like.
Yeah, I definitely think it was more on the troll side, just to kind of get kills where they could, rather than. I don't think it was fully like they were strategizing that legitimately, which I mean worked out for CU Boulder luckily, but. Surprisingly also, the fact that Shyvana was able to almost kill a Zed still. So I think that even gives some hope to be able to get something out of that.
Yeah, but Logia is going to be trying to get Vision in his own jungle towards the drag, but he's just going to get punished.
I think they're just going to end.
Yeah, the Maokai ult's going to catch, and that's another kill. Kai'Sa's dead. And...
Yeah, they're waiting for that wave, but once it comes, I mean... They're already 2 players down. UW still has 5, and she was able to cancel it back.
Pascal's just gonna kill Symptomatic Link on the turret.
Yeah, Symptomatic almost able to get the kill back, but unfortunately not quite. And it looks like this game is probably about over.
Yeah, one last fight. Shyvana's gonna ult in, as is the Zed. TP is coming down. Syndra is here. At 0 health, it just dies to the Needleworks, lands the Scatter the Weak, and that's all that's needed. Game is over.
Unfortunate.
Dude. Pascal TPing in just at like 10% HP just to land a Scatters with the Weak to just on the last 2 members of like CU Boulder is just, yeah, I don't know what to say.
No, but again, a really good game. Xayah comes out with the most damage by over double what their team had. A great performance by Zed as well, going 17-0. Really wonderful coming out from UW.
Yep, 20-minute game, and UW continues to try and hold on to that record for PAC-U with the fastest games played.
So really wonderful. I mean, more quick games coming from UW. Unfortunate for CU Boulder, who is not able to put a win under their belt. But UW is now, I think, in tie for first with 3 wins and 0 losses in the current tournament, which is really good for them.
Yeah, I mean, just a huge win tonight for UW, just adding to their dominant start. So I'm excited to see how this roster continues to compete in future games.
No, so congratulations to UW. Thank you so much for joining us on our University of Washington Twitch channel tonight and spending time with our production crew, players, and talent. Remember to check us out at University of Washington UW Esports on most platforms, Twitter and YouTube, UW Esports, and join the Discord if you are interested in volunteering behind the scenes. Have a great night.